Dorissa Novela, first year college AB Literature Section A. Today I will be discussing about the digital self and how in cyberspace. The term online identity implies that there is a distinction between how people present themselves online and how they do offline. But, but any split between online and offline identity is narrowing for two reasons. First, in contrast to the internet of the 1990s, people today use social media primarily to communicate with people they know in real life. Second, wireless networking and portable devices like smartphones and tablets make it easy to access social media as part of day-to-day rather than having to formally log on to the internet. We are living in a digital age than face-to-face interaction. We have interactions involving technology, circular phones, computers, and other gadgets. Thus, we build our digital self. What is digital self? How do you represent yourself online? When we talk about the digital self, we are talking about the self as it exists within the digital spaces. Your digital self is gestalt in what it exists across whatever mediums, websites, and services used online. What is digital self? How do you represent yourself online? When we talk about the digital self, we are talking about the self as it exists within digital spaces. Your digital self is gestalt in what it exists across whatever mediums, websites, and services you use. These bits are pieces together to form a whole picture of what it means to be you, or some aspects of you. It's also help you to understand how online identity is established based or the it's also help you to understand how online identity is established based on the information you offer and technology interactions. It will present the risks and dangers for posting too much of your personal life or pretending you are somebody else in the social media world. And it also presents what you can do to protect your online personality. Online identity and self in cyberspace. It's only I, me, myself, and my user ID online identity. Online identity is the new sum of your characteristic and interactions because you interact differently with each website you visit. Each of those websites will have a different picture of who you are and what you do. Sometimes the different representations of you are referred to as partial identities because one of them has the full true picture of who you are. Your online identity is not the same as your real world identity because the characteristics you represent online differ from the characteristic you represent in the physical world. Every website you interact with has its own idea of your identity which because each one of you visits sees you and your characteristic differently. Online most research on identity focus on self-presentation. Social media like social networking sites, blogs, and online personas require users to self-consciously create virtual depictions of themselves. One way of understanding such as self-representation is the information and materials people choose to show others on a Facebook profile or Twitter stream. But identity is also expressed through interacting with others, whether over instant, messenger, or email. How do you build online identity? Every website that you interact with will collect its own version of who you are based on the information that you have shared. Thus, it is up to you how you will represent yourself as closely as who you are and what you do in real life or selectively to create a representation far from your real life. Selective self-presentation and impression management. These are characteristics showing behaviors designed to convey an image about ourselves to other people and to influence the perception of other people in this image. This explains why our behaviors can change if we notice that we are being watched or observed. This self-presentation can also change depending on who we are interacting with or what personal information we need to be providing to present ourselves in a way that will be acceptable to others. Thus, we can select only what we want to present and express to others, what we view beneficial to our personality, especially when we create a digital self. We carefully choose representation or expression of one's real world to the online world. Extend Self in Digital World by Russell W. Bell. A glimpse on the ideas of Russell W. Bell on his extended self in a digital world could give more light on the topic. Bell present 5 changes emerging from current digital age. Number 1. Dematerialization. Things are disappearing right before our eyes. Our information, communication, photos and videos, music, calculations, messages, written words are now largely invisible and immaterial, composed of electronic streams stored in digital storage devices in locations we will never know. The question is, can we gain status or enhance sense of self from virtual positions? Bell proposed 4 functions of virtual consumptions. Number 1. Stimulates consumer desire for both materials and virtual goods. Number 2. Actualize possible daydreams such as those of wealth and status by enacting them in video games. Number 3. Actualizes impossibles fantasies such as being a magician, being a magician or space pirate with magical objects. 4. Facilitates experimentation such as being a criminal in a video game. Reports shows that virtual goods are now some of the most valued commodities for cybercriminals who will attempt to hack into games and steal possessions of vessel. Suicide may also result to stolen virtual or digital possessions. Number 2. Embodiment. This is characterized as the breakup of visual online, leading to new constructions and definitions of the self in the virtual world, where online games, blogs, photos, web pages, and online video sharing sites, internet dating sites are possible. We are disembodied and re-embodied as avatars, sharing identity with the chosen avatar visually. Number 3. Sharing. Uploading, downloading, sharing, etc. provide free access of information through web surfing. How does sharing of positions online enhance our individual and aggregate sense of self? Number 4. Co-construction of self. Our digital involvement is social in nature. Our blogs invite comments, social interactions, which help in constructing our individual and joint extended sense of self as the new version of Cooley's looking glass self theory, known as the collaborative self. What are the effects of this? Seeking affirmation is obviously identified. Friends also help to construct and reaffirm each other's sense of self through their posting, tagging, and comments. Number 5. Distributed memory. In digital world, there is a new set of devices and technologies for recording and achieving our memories. Using social media, we must have boundaries of the online self, private versus public, personal versus social identity online, gender and sexuality online. Setting boundaries to your online self. Stick to safer sites. Guard your passwords. Be choosy about your online friends. Remember that anything you put online or posting in a site is there forever, even if you try to delete it. Don't mean or embarrass other people online. Limit what you share. Always remember that we must have extra care with full sense of accountability must be observed in the use of the social media to protect ourselves.